we ready?
We're ready.
Okay. Do we have any last burning desires of people wanting to share something or wanting to find something out?
I have a very basic question.
Okay.
I'm almost embarrassed to ask this. But you know me.
No questions, don't.
So I had my WordPress site, blog site, forwarded to my .com domain, and I forgot to pay for my domain renewal. And since I never do anything with it, I just didn't even notice it. I just happened to be flipping through my notebook and noticed, oh, that was due about 2 weeks ago. And so when I called GoDaddy and got it renewed, I said, by the way, I had this forwarded or pointed to this domain, this WordPress. They said, oh, well, once it's up and running in 48 hours, then it should be right back up. But it's not. So I don't remember how I set that up.
So there's probably some kind of settings in your domain.
Yeah, do a Google search for GoDaddy 301 redirect domain.
Okay.
And it will give you a step-by-step of exactly how to set up a 301 redirect for your domain for all of that.
Okay.
And you want to set up, be very careful, because you want to set up a redirect and not like a pointer or a forwarder. Because what a pointer and a forwarder can do is it can sometimes show up on Google.com or Google search engine as duplicate content, because it's kind of saying, well, it's at humanitywarriors.wellness.com and it's at trudy.com. This is two separate websites, but they're showing duplicate content, so these people are spammers. You know, so you want to be careful that you're doing a 301 redirect and not a forwarder or pointer.
Okay, redirect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, that's one good question. I have a website, and my audience is like Southeast Asia, like all the way to China, and I have a couple websites. And so the first one I did immediately. I started talking to my friends in China, and of course it's like they can't access it. And I turned on Cloudflare, and I think within a couple days of turning on Cloudflare, like asking people to index it, it was up and running. Another website that I did, it just will not, like, it cannot get access to China for whatever reason. Do anyone have any idea, like,
What's China
what are they
doing?
looking for? What's that? Yeah, I mean, but there will be no reason to blacklist my site yet. So there's no content on it. I mean, very innocuous content, and so I just don't have any idea. Like,
You might want to have to ask China for that answer. You would have to ask China for that answer, because I mean,
process like it's like if they like look for like, okay, like now Google has indexed it, so we'll allow it to be seen. Like there's mostly some like process they have because it's like, well, right now I have no. It's like just totally like innocuous content, but it eventually will be.
And your URL is not overthrow Chinese leadership?
No.
you might be interested in checking out a service they just started. A friend of mine does a lot of their PR, but I was like, wow, that's really kind of neat. It's called Lantern, and basically what it is it's allowing basically people in the free worlds that would want to share their internets with people in other countries who are banning their access governmentally. Basically, you're setting your website up as a VPN kind of touch point, and so they can surf the web through your portal and unaccessed and unrestricted by their governments. So check out Lantern. There you go. I did the plug, Jill. No, she sent everybody an email like, plug this if you find somebody that's interested. And it's like, you, sir, might be interested in this server. So there you go. Okay.
All right. So if there's any other questions or anything like that, just grab someone afterwards. There's so much wealth of knowledge within this group here. So just network and find people and ask questions. And we're going to turn it over to April now. April is going to, we all can build websites, but a website is nothing. It's zero unless it has good content. A website can launch with good content, and then it can be static, and it can sit there for a year, and then it's like there's nothing on it. So the key to it, and it's one of the harder things that you'll do, is to make sure you continually post good content. So April's going to guide us through powerhouse posting.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so hey everybody. Basically, I want to kind of introduce you to this process that I've defined. I've done content, brainstorming and audience detection and being like, oh, what do they care about? What do we want to do? So I'm here to kind of show you how you can do that for your own audiences, for your own websites. So, who am I? I'm April Holle. You can totally get in touch with me at these extra areas, both the email and Twitter. So if I just invigorate your brain and you're just so curious, you have questions, please reach out to me. I am accessible. And I really wanted to talk about, who are you guys?
Just back up just the previous week.
Sure.
Yeah, somebody else was on.
You're like, I was writing this fervently. So I have cards with me too if you need a card. They're handy. So, everybody cool? We can move on. Good. Okay, so who are you guys? I got 2 questions. So who here, I know we're all WordPress fanatics or trying to be or trying to understand, but who here regularly creates content online? So you're doing it pretty regularly. Awesome. And who would like to start creating regular content online? So maybe you're not doing it yet, want to get into it. Awesome. Congratulations. Good. That gives me a good, mix of who's doing what. So the first thing that I want to talk about is why is regular impactful communication so important? You see this a lot right now. If you looked at Google content marketing or getting, making a hold online, people tell you, build content, build content, build content. But they're not really telling you why and what for and how. And that's the piece we're missing. So here we go. The reason why this is so important is because we all have a project. We all have something that we want to get done, whether it be a goal, a sales goal, or a donation goal, or, what is it that you want to get done with your web service? Maybe it's just to have your parents actually care about what you have to say for once, because they're the only people who read it. But there's always some kind of goal in mind. To do that, really, you need communication. You always need great communication, because I don't know, I try to be a superhero in my life. I'm sure you try to be a superhero in your life, but if you've ever done anything that's big and hairy and scary, you know that you had somebody else helping you do it. Whether that was one person or 600 people kickstarting your thing or whatever it was, there was somebody else involved. So that requires teamwork. And so that communication breeds that teamwork. Once you say, hey Carol, I'm falling under this table, help, then she's got the adequate communication that she needs to provide the teamwork that I desire. So then you achieve your goal. You're like, yes, we did it. We raised $12,000 from Sonoran Desert National Park. Or, yes, I got my 12 clients and I am successfully happy and well with work. Great, awesome. And how often do we communicate that back to the people that have helped us with those goals? It's always good to close that feedback loop. I see this with some of the nonprofit clients that I collaborate with all the time, where they're like, we did it, and they're so glad they made it across the finish line. They're like, it's like triathlons. They're like, oh my God, we did it. And so by the time that moment comes around, they kind of neglect to celebrate that with the people that actually made it possible. So reconnect that and come back to the communication cycle. So communication, of course, most important. And this is why, right? And this is why we worked on 3. Right. Dr. Jokes. There's no funny. All right. So what is effective communication? Right? You're like, effective communication. I'm in. Let's do it. What is that? It's providing the right information. Carol, this table is on my foot. Help. And also at the right time. If I wait 5 minutes, probably not going to be as cool for my foot. Might lose the foot. It's serious. And then to provoke the right response, Carol comes over here and helps me. So it's really those three things lining up that create that effective communication path that everybody is looking for. And these slides will be available online with the videos, so if you need to revisit. So there's a myth to this, and I want to break this myth tonight. Basically, planning and providing communication is hard and laborious. It sucks. It's, you get to the point where you're like, yeah, I created a post. Yeah, Jesus. There are times, when you force this creative thing out of you, and you're like, okay, it can be easier than that. And it's really about having a roadmap to kind of revisit and be like, okay, why the hell am I doing this again? Why does this matter? What are the points I need to talk about? Oh yeah, there's those videos that I want to add, so these kinds of check-in points help you. Because our lives really begin to end the day they become silent about the things that matter. The things that you're passionate about, the things that you want to get out there, whether it be your business, your life, or just your craft blog, it matters to you, or you wouldn't be putting the time and effort into it. And so it's going to matter to other people. They might be a small niche majority of Invader Zim enthusiasts who also crochet little tiny furs for their sisters, because my sister's part of that club. I should have brought it. She's so cute. But it's just, everybody has that audience out there. Things that matter about you, things that matter to you. There is someone out there, thanks to the internet, we can meet and connect with on those levels because they care about knitting furs too. So, but good fortune is really what happens when opportunity meets with planning. And I know planning's not always like everybody's like, let's plan some things. It's kind of like this turns into a doldrum meeting after meeting where nothing ever really gets done. So there's, ounce of planning, right? So, but it's really about connecting that opportunity when you kind of come up with, a client asks you, hey, April, what's the best way to SEO optimize a blog post? I can either answer their question right there, or I can either answer that question and think, this will make a good blog post. And automatically, I've got a brainstorm of something that this client, I've already got the answer. I can give this answer to this client once an email, copy and paste my answer, throw it in WordPress, and now I've got a new post. It's answering a lot of other people's questions, very similar like. So what is this posting process? There's a process. What is it? So the first piece is the why, and that's really connecting your vision, your purpose, your mission, your goals to your blog. But it's really kind of going through that process, and we'll talk a little bit about that tonight. Your audience, who are you connecting with and who are you serving? Those two questions will really help you kind of, not writing for Ed McMahon to read your blog post, you're writing for Trudy to read your blog post. They're two separate, very different creatures. Trudy would like to be as rich as Ed McMahon. Someone should totally give her $1 million. Your topics, what do you have to say? So really connecting with the topics that your audience is interested in, with the goals that you need to do, and what topics can you talk about there, and kind of getting those together, brainstorming it all in one place. So you always have something to talk about. Writer's block is the #1 killer of good blogs, right? Because you're like, okay, I wrote the 5 posts I could think of, so I guess that's the end of my blogging career. This is a great way to kind of get additional things always kind of churning in your stomach. It's like, oh, I really want to write about that. Regularity and timing, because consistency always helps, and part of consistency is really managing your readers' expectations. Sometimes blogs can pump out a post every day because they've got guest bloggers and everything else, and people who read Social Media Examiner expect several posts a day. That's their expectation as a readership. Other places might expect a blog post maybe once a month, maybe once a quarter. So really, what's that regularity and timing and consistency, and how do you build that? And then you get down to the actual content, like actually sitting down and writing something, or producing a video blog, or that kind of thing. What's that intention and that impact that you're creating? And then promotion, basically being able to share what you have to offer. So the first piece is really connecting your vision to your goals and crushing it and repeating it, right? So it's really about what are the things that you want to get done, you know? So Trudy, what's one goal that you'd really like to see your blog help you with?
Well, I think it'll help me just get my own clarity.
Get your own what?
Clarity.
Get your own clarity. So she's gaining clarity by giving others advice. That helps. Why do you blog?
How do I blog?
Yeah.
Mainly, I mean, my blog posts go out to my email list more than anything, so it's just people that are getting, that's why I write articles, just so that I stay in front of them at least twice a month.
Great. So you've definitely got a metric with that. Did I produce content for the email? Did people click through? Do they care? Open rates. You've got all these kinds of check-ins, right? Why, Karen? Why do you blog? Come on. Why do you blog?
I don't blog.
You don't blog. Why don't you blog? That's a good question.
Well, I'm learning right now.
Sweet. Okay, so he's like, I don't know why I don't blog. I know I'm messing one of those steps up. So it's really all about connecting your goals, whether it's I just created this class and I really want 12 people to attend. Okay, well, let's start pumping out some pre-event, posts. What are they going to learn? Just go through one of the activities or demonstrations that they're going to get out of this for the blog to promote it. What these kinds of connecting what you're creating to your goals directly. So you have why questions. So why do you create? I was kind of asking a lot of people why do you blog? Kind of just giving yourself that question and sitting with it for a little bit. I know it's silly sitting with questions, but sometimes it's really good to just kind of think, okay, why the hell am I doing this to begin with? And then how is it that what you're creating is connected to your larger goals? If you're blogging about cats and you really need to sell software, then you're going to have to really talk about how your software is really good at herding cats, or there's not going to be a lot of connection there. So you really have to connect that back to the larger goal. And then how can you measure those connections, whether it be how many people read the post and then bought the product, or how many people read the post then clicked to the product, or signed up for your email newsletter, or registered for the class, or what is that end goal? Measure that line in the sand. Go for it.
I have a question. I was just curious about how you define the difference between vision, purpose, and mission.
It's really good that you say that. I actually got a really good clarifying thing from the GameLink leadership team thing. When you think of vision, you think of what would the world be like in 10 years from now? When you think of all the amazing progress that humanity could have created, made, changed, what is that vision? And then your purpose is, what are you going to be doing in that world to see that vision through? If you want to see, all education subsidized by the government, okay, what is your purpose in that? Maybe, talking about different ways that we can create, lower income, ability or lower profit margin and education, but being able to be maybe more accessible because it's online. Things like that you can do to be part of that process. So that's really your purpose in that vision. And then your mission is really the things that you're going to be doing and providing to get that through. So maybe you're sitting on the city council, or maybe you're doing this that's more of a mission kind of portion of that, of the boots on the ground, what do we do? And then the goals are the subset of, okay, what does a good mission accomplished look like in ways that we can measure it regularly and say, did we attend this many meetings? Did we sway a vote? Did we what's the questions there that you're going to gauge that success by? Does that help you at all? So that's kind of how I think of it when I think of vision, mission, purpose. What's the difference? It's kind of as Stu said, down, a little down. So the next piece, we've already got through one, yay! Next piece is the audiences. Some of you guys have already heard some of my audience stuff, but we'll kind of go through a little bit of that today. Basically, my number one tip for here is think of one single person. Think of that one single person, and to be honest, Trudy is actually an example for my business. When I create things for my business, I think, is this something Trudy would use? Is this something Trudy can afford? Because when I start thinking about a one-on-one connection, you get real clear about whether Greg is going to pay for that or whether George is going to really buy off on that being a benefit for him. You know, when you think of my client, Claire, you know, she is a really busy person. One of the things she's going to benefit most of is it being really beneficial, really fast to use. So, you know, when you start getting clear about that one person, it really helps you thinking about the rest of your audience. And you might have a couple of different readers that kind of look at different demographics or different segments of your market. I serve a lot of businesses and I serve a lot of nonprofits. And nonprofits don't like business language. They don't want to hear about how you're going to increase customers or clients. They don't care. They care about donors and volunteers. And so it's the different language that you might be using for different groups that can help there. So picking out just a couple single readers, a couple different segments will really help you out with that. So the questions you want to start thinking about here are who are you talking to, who's actually reading it, and where do they hang out. Pam Slim has a great blog about avatars, ecosystems, and watering holes that I've linked to. If you go to my website, you can actually find the post slide. Like I'm going to have some post breakouts about this event. It's already got links in there. But you can go to Pam Slim's great write-up about the avatars and watering holes because she's really got a good, way to kind of roll into that and be like, okay, where are these people hanging out? It's also a great way to answer that HR question of, there are so many social media channels, where the hell am I posting my stuff to? Why does it matter? And really, when you start looking at where are these specific audience members hanging out, I have a client that I refer to back all the time. Her name is Maggie, and Maggie uses Pinterest and Facebook religiously, but if you ask her to use Twitter, she just doesn't get it. She's like, I just don't get it. And that's fine. That's the way she is. But yeah, I need to know that about my audience, because if I'm stressed for time and I'm like, okay, I've already done my Pinterest and my my LinkedIn post and my Facebook post, because that's what most of my people are using. Okay, let Twitter slide for today, or that kind of thing. You know what you're sacrificing with that decision. So, and then where do they find value in what you're offering? Lots of people find value 5 different ways. Basically, are you saving them time? Are you managing risk? Are you making it less risky for me to do something? Is there value in your brand? Some people will just go eat at McDonald's because it is McDonald's, or won't eat at McDonald's because it's McDonald's. Brand is something that's very important to people. So there's different types of these, places that people find value in things. One great question to think about for this is, why do they care? I see this with a lot of my land conservation groups that I work with. They have these segments in the market that don't have kids, and so that whole messaging of we're saving it for future generations, they're like, so what? I'm going to be dead in 20 years. I don't care. But the fact that it's still public land that you can go out and shoot on or recreate on, horseback ride, something else that they find interesting and meaningful. Maybe they really like geology, or maybe they really like hiking. There's other things that they're going to value in that land conservation that may not be just the future generations messaging, right? And so really, what's in it for them? Start getting really clear on that. And I might want to sell you this product, but until you really buy off on the fact that it's going to save you time and limit your risk, you're not going to care, because it's hard to update, or it's, or it craps my website out all the time. Well, then it's not doing the things that you promised me it would do. So really, you have to connect on that value level and then deliver on those pieces of value. Awesome. So this one, we're actually into your topics, and you have questions in those two first sections, so you're like, makes sense. Sweet. So creating meaningful content topic by topic, when you start boiling this down, and a lot of people are pushing this now. There's Jay Baer's book, Utility. There's Greg Vaynerchuk's book a while back ago called The Thank You Economy. There's Duct Tape Marketing's the referral engine piece. They always talk about how can you be absolutely useful to your audience. Some people, I think it's Adaptive Path, they have a blog post called The Long Plow, and it's really talking about how you connect to the unexpected or remarkable parts of doing business with you. If Trudy just needed to know how to do a 301 redirect on Google, I was there, I was very useful. She now knows what she can do to go forward in her mission. So start thinking about where your audience is and how you can provide them small, think of it as like breadcrumbs, right? Like a Hansel and Gretel tale. But we won't eat you at the end, I promise. Of how you can be useful in small bites. My email example, a client asked me a question via email, and I think, oh, this client question is really relevant to a lot of my clients. I should post this on my blog. So thinking about usefulness. What topics are they going to want to hear about? Some of the best advice and stuff to talk about that I've ever gotten from people is directly from my clients. I just say, hey, Trudy, what is it that you would want to hear from me to better your business? What is it? And maybe just give them 6 topics in a poll daddy poll or whatever. Just say, hey, in the next 6 months, what are these 5 topics you want to hear about the most? Get them to engage with you and be like, oh yeah, she's going to be talking about that because she said she would. And it's brought into you, from your audience. So if there's a nagging desire or question that somebody wants answered, they're going to come to you with that question. And what are they searching for? I have a demo here in a little bit of a great free thing on the web. It's called Google Trends, and basically you can search for exactly what's trending in your market. So we'll do a demo here in a second. And then, are there time-sensitive things? So I love to give the example of like a landscaping company, right? So there are certain things that you need to do in the summer, the fall, the winter, to take care of your bushes and shrubs, to take care of your annuals, to take care of your perennials, to take care of your beds. Like you could do the seasonal thing all year long with a landscaping company. There are other companies and products and services where seasonal timing is really important, like the Black Friday sales right after Thanksgiving, or Christmas or New Year's for some like life coaches and planners and health clubs. They love New Year's. They're like, yeah, bring on the weight loss. Like they're excited about it. So there's different things that you can connect with on a time-sensitive level. So let's look at Google Trends. Hopefully my screen share will bring it together for everybody at home. If not, I'm sorry, guys. So does anyone have an example of 2 topics that they've been blogging about? They want to know which one is more popular than another one? Or how many people are searching for what? Come on, nobody.
Versus Google.
All right. So Joe's getting ready to do a CMS countdown post where he countdowns the top 3 CMSs, and most of all, Drupal versus WordPress versus Joomla, right? You could be crazy. All right. So this is the interest over time for WordPress versus Drupal. So red is the Drupal line, WordPress is the blue line. So you can see that there's like an amazing spike with WordPress in July with partial data, so maybe that's a little algorithm. But you can see how the trend of WordPress is going up. It's a very healthy trend. Drupal is kind of like, oh, so you can kind of see, okay, maybe not so many search results on Drupal. You can actually do like regions, cities, as far as like where. And then I really like these two types of particular things. So you can see the queries themselves. So if I'm doing WordPress, if I'm doing a WordPress related blog right now, I should be writing a lot about WordPress theme. If I use WordPress theme in almost every single, just that keyword alone, in almost every single blog that I made, people would love me. So just, I mean, you see a lot of those people in many WordPress sites. You see WordPress theme review, whatever that review, whatever that thing is, and they're cranking them out, but people are searching for them. So they're going where the market is. WordPress plugin, WordPress themes. You'll notice the S. They've added a plural. It matters to Google. It does. Blog WordPress, blog, download WordPress, template WordPress. So if you wanted to get your top queries as far as quickly, be like, what are people searching around this? Here it is. Also, you can see a lot of rising terms. So one is Joomla. So if you're doing a common Joomla is worth it, looking into that. The fact that they want free WordPress themes is important, a breakout term. So when you start seeing a lot of these breakout terms and a lot of rising terms, those are your hot topics. You want something that's current, relevant, and going to get people excited. Talk about one of these topics because it'll get you somewhere.
What is breakout?
Breakout means that it's basically going over 2,000% growth at this point. So it's breaking out. It's like top of the graph. So that kind of thing. And then you can go over to Drupal and do the same thing for it. So you can see the top and rising terms for those particular sections. And so if you wanted to add,
Add another one. And
yeah, be like, okay, Joomla's showing up. Let's look at it.
put Modix in there. M-O-D-X.
M-O-D-X.
Yeah, there you go.
So you can kind of see very quickly, like, if you're a CMS, writer, you should be talking about WordPress, or you should be talking about Holle or Drupal, because those are more interest in the audience there than anywhere else. Does that make sense? Everybody understand trends?
Is there a way to do a search like that, except maybe make it for a region, like the Southwest?
You can't do a Southwest per se, but if let me drop this back a little bit because we don't, right now, like the requested map does not exist, things like that. But you can actually go through and say, Bhutan's really not a good, I love Bhutan, but not helpful. You could actually go through and limit this to a particular, like if you want to say San Francisco, things like that. This particular search, for whatever reason, doesn't have a regional interest map. Let's try another one that might.
Did you actually put versus US?
No, I just put in the search, the term, comma, the next term. Okay. So let's do one for like Google, because Google will always have its own stuff available. They'll be like, oh yeah, we can tell you all about us. No map.
Because when I put versus, there was nothing available. But then when I did it your way, there actually was enough data.
So you put commas in between the different things that you want to versus?
Yeah, so basically if I wanted to do Google and Bing, you could just say comma Bing and then you have it. So of course, it's like, woo.
Where's Bing?
It's the red line at the bottom. So this is just to get you started because it's free, easy to access. If you really wanted to drill down to like, I want to know the keywords people are searching for around hosting in Arizona, I recommend sign up for an AdWords account. You can sign up for an AdWords account completely free. They won't charge you or they'll sure as the hell try, but they won't charge you for setting up AdWords as long as you don't actually set up any campaigns. But you can use the keyword planner in there, and it gets very specific as far as regions and things like that. So, good. Yay, we're helping. Okay. So let me get back to the shenanigans. So that's trends. It's really great when you start looking at topics and different things. If you're a service provider, whether it be lawn care or beauty treatments, you could probably put in every single one, foot spa versus pedicure versus, start looking at what people are searching for, because it might spark some things that you're like, I didn't realize that they were. And it's so silly. Sometimes it's the silliest thing. Like people search for home care as one word instead of two more often. It's just stuff like that that really benefits you when you're writing for it because you have the right words. Yay! So content topics. Think about all the things you do and start thinking about how you can share the story of what you're working on. So maybe you're developing a new product. Maybe you're developing a new service. If you say, hey, we're getting ready to start this now, you can start eliciting feedback from your audience before you even send something out to the very end. Goals and impacts. What are you trying to get accomplished? What have you done lately for the community? General education, FAQs. If you're getting a regular question from a client or a customer or community or a service, just start collecting those, start answering them. General awareness things, event updates, and recaps. You can get dual service out of an event. You can say, hey, this is coming up, and hey, we just finished this. This is exciting because what you need help with and how others can help. So often, rarely do we ask for help and really use it. Use your area there. So let's talk about timing and regularity real quick. How often do you want to create new content? Lots of people look to internet marketing experts. They're like, internet marketing expert, and I get asked this question all the time. How much should I post? It's just like coming from on high. And honestly, it's just, it's really about how much can you really produce regularly. If you're struggling to produce a content post every week and you absolutely hate it, drop back to every other week. I'd rather see a really awesome post that's thoughtful and written and well thought out than hurrying and doing a 100-word post because you had to get something out this week. Don't rush it. Make it good.
Yeah. How long should they be? I mean, when I do my posts, they're articles. They're not like just a couple paragraphs.
So in your case, I would actually ask, is there any breaks within the giant long-form piece that would make for a series rather than, like, if you unleash them one time after each other, would it make sense? And if not, that's really fine. Long form, if some people like long form, they do well at long form, great. Most people won't read a lot of stuff like that unless it's got a lot of headlines and stuff like that, so I can find what I'm looking for in this long text area. And so really remember to break up your content as much as you can with subheadlines. But generally it's between 250 and 500 words. I catch myself all the time doing a 1,000-word post, and often I'm like, okay, so I gotta break this up. I gotta give them some breathing room here, because it just, if you've ever read something long on the internet, you're like, okay, my eyes are bleeding. Like, where's the answer? So lots of people scan; they don't read the full content. How often can you realistically create new content? How much you want to create new content, and how much you can actually get it done? Set a goal. Be like, I will write, or I will work on this for 2 hours a week for the next 6 weeks, and really focus on it, or really pay attention to that. And then if you're and then track when you're actually getting things done. Okay, maybe it is taking you 2 weeks to get something out, or maybe it's taking you 3 weeks to get something out. There are efficiencies, and then there are also things that you can just say, okay, you know what, I can only post once a week. I can't do this every day thing like I thought I could. And there's also other opportunities of okay, so maybe you can't post every day. Have you thought about connecting with other people that do kind of what you do and say, you know, hey, Carol, or hey, you know, Trudy, or hey, you talk about kind of some of the things that I talk about. You know, if I did a health and wellness blog and I was like, hey, Trudy, I need a, you know, can you do me a favor and just create a post, and I'll definitely link back to your website with it. Like, would you be willing to do that for me? Guest posting is a great way to get additional posts taken care of without you actually having to write it. And then when's the right time to post new content? There's actually a great custom report you can run in Google Analytics that will allow you to, let me show you what I'm talking about, that will allow you to see exactly when people are searching and using your blog, so that you can go ahead and post at the right time based on your traffic, not what they say, like, oh, most blogs, because most blogs are read on like a Tuesday or Thursday morning, you know, or some people say a Saturday morning. Okay, you've got 3 different options. Which, you know, really, which one is it? If I go into my Google Analytics and I use this custom report, which someone else has created, I just added it to my Google Analytics. Let's look at my awesome little traffic website. And it's so funny because people are like, you have such small traffic, but you're telling us we can drive traffic. I'm like, I can get traffic for the business I need. If I got thousands of people, I'd be swamped. Let's see here. So we're going to go into customs, and we're going to look into our day of week. And basically, I can come in here and say that Thursday is my most popular day, followed by Tuesday. They're actually pretty close neck and neck. But I get, you know, more people just bouncing out on Thursday. So Thursday is my best day to post. If I wanted to say, how about what hour? Oh, that's
Okay, so are you talking about any content, or are you talking about specifically blog content?
you could using segments just draw this down to just your blog content. This is any visitors, which is totally fine by me. But you can kind of go through this. So a lot of people kind of visit. These are very many sessions. Let's see. Give us some couple of years time data stuff. So overall, noon or 2 o'clock on Monday is pretty popular, followed by 1 o'clock on Tuesday. You know, so if I, you know, say, okay, I'm just going to post everything by noon on Monday, and, you know, kind of pre-post, then I've got it. All right, so let's get back to this.
Like 5 minutes from now.
Yeah, I know. I'll rush through it. So there's quarterly and yearly planning. This is kind of how I set this up. Basically, I create a quad graph like this. I set up the next 3 months, and I start thinking, okay, what 5 topics am I going to cover in July? What 5 topics am I going to cover in August? What 5 topics am I going to cover in September? Because no matter what, you have a topic per week. You could limit this if you want to do 1 post a month. You can say, that's my 1 topic for July. You can totally do that. So I start here. So I've already got 3 months worth of topics kind of written out just by picking 15 different posts for the month. You can do this for the full year, and it'll actually create you 60 topics a year. So you have no reason not to blog because you have a topic. And if something more exciting comes up, you're like, oh, but I'm doing this special and this is more important. You can take this topic that you created and just say, you know what, I'm going to move that off to the side. I've got an extra blog post in the hopper, yay. But I'm going to talk about this week because it's super important. You can do that. You can modify the schedule, but at least you have the topic started. Then you have your monthly planning. When you sit down for monthly planning, I mean, really all you've done is put your 5 topics together. So for each topic, you're going to want to revisit, okay, what's the goal connected to this? Who is the audience I'm connected to on this? And then come up with a working title. Come up with my 3 to 5 points that I absolutely want to make. I don't know. don't hate on me. I was like, I don't hate you, I just really don't like you. So come up with your 3 to 5 points that you want to make, and then who's responsible for creating it. If you have a team of people, it's really important to say, hey, Trudy, you're responsible for this post, and Trudy knows it, so Trudy writes it. If you have a team of people or a group of people that can create content, really connecting that, who's responsible, and then when is it due? When are you actually going to post it, and then backtrack that a little bit so you can have time to draft it, edit it, find media stuff for it, that kind of thing. There's this really awesome editorial plugin. It's free. It does. We'll go ahead and click out to it. It creates basically an editorial calendar inside of your dashboard for your posts, and you can actually kind of schedule them or predate them for when you want them to go out, and then they'll go pending review until that actually happens. But you can at least have a calendar view for your particular posts that when they're going to come together. So
Is that a plugin?
it is a plugin. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it actually works for all custom post types, so it would work for events too. So if you wanted to see
Post calendar?
it's called, let's back up. It's called Editorial Calendar, and you can type in Editorial Calendar plugin, and it'll show right up.
And April, you can only see it, right?
You can only see this. This is all on your dashboard. It doesn't post anything unless you say, okay, this is ready to go, publish it on this
So
date.
it's an organizational place for your post.
Exactly. So when you're thinking about every topic each week, you can say, okay, we've got topics for the next 6 weeks. I use this with clients to build out calendars all the time, and it's super, super helpful, especially when you have teams of people working on stuff. You can assign it to different authors.
It's called editorial calendar.
Editorial Calendar plugin. And I do have the link on the post. I'm going over, so I apologize. So creating the actual content. When you're actually starting to create the content, whether it be video, audio, text, whatever it is, review your topic and outline. You already did your outline at the beginning of the month. You know what five little bullet points you're going to be covering on this particular thing. Write your own draft. Review it with some fresh eyes, or even better, get someone else to review it. It's always good to have someone else review your stuff. Include your keywords, so the keywords that you researched at the beginning, saying, oh, people are interested in WordPress themes, and they're really interested in free WordPress themes, so WordPress themes free. Start trying to figure out how you can, and do this after you edit your content. Don't start writing your content with these words in mind. You can try it that way, but I see the most success when you write it just as you would normally write, and then bring in the keywords and say, oh yeah, okay, I need to use a WordPress theme instead of it. Your pronouns are a great spot to start putting in the keywords. Okay, so, and then images and video, talking about a whole spot. Images and video are really great to get people engaged within content. They say images are worth 1,000 words. It really is impactful and emotional. There are lots of different people that use information differently. Some people might be wordsmiths and want to read all that detail. Some people just like to look at an image and get an emotional impact of, what is this helping me with? How does this affect me? You see a bunch of starving Guatemalan children, you are more likely to act than just saying there are starving Guatemalan children. Okay, but if you see their eyes and you see how sad they are, all of a sudden it's more humane, want to act, do something different. So having that content together really helps. And then add these new pieces of content to your website regularly. And you can always predate stuff. You get the writing bug and you really want to write a couple of things on a Saturday afternoon. You don't have to post them that Saturday afternoon. You can always say, okay, so I want this one to go out on Monday, and the next one can go out on the next Monday. Now you've got 2 weeks where you can create all kinds of other content because you're not worried about those 2 posts that are going out.
So are you actually doing your blog post in WordPress itself? Because I always do mine in Word, and then I copy and paste them.
And you can totally do that. There's a lot of different effective ways to to edit to
Because I want copies of my content that I use, because I actually publish a book of my blog posts after every year.
Yeah. So having that written content that your
Yeah.
publisher can use a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Sure. Good idea. Yeah. Sometimes people aren't so the grammar, spell check on the what you get editor leave a little bit to be desired, especially if you're
Yeah.
words.
It's just kind of, so I have a folder where all my, it's dated for the year. They're all Word documents. And then I copy and paste them over to, I think there's a copy and paste in there to
From Word.
from Word.
Yep.
And then I just do it that way. Because for some reason, doing it into WordPress itself, it's like if I'm thinking about something, if I need to edit it and review it, I don't want to do that in WordPress. You know, I could do that better in Word.
Yeah.
It's not live. Or
Yeah, there's
potentially
definitely
live.
different other WordPress or word processing programs. You could use Word, Microsoft Word. You could use Google Docs and share it with a bunch of collaborators that are writing it, then post it to WordPress. There's all kinds of ways that you can totally do that process.
I was just wondering if other people did that.
Oh, does anybody else use Word before they edit in Word and then post? So yeah.
Okay.
So there are some people out there that definitely, and I know when I do sales pages, I definitely do that. Posts not so much because I'm just like, let's get this out. So, real quick note about storytelling. Nobody is very excited when they see this. Like, the brand is new and improved now with 50% more claims than the leading brand. Consumers live happily ever after at the end. When you're telling your brand story like that, it's not exciting. It's not invigorating. You don't, why do I care? Why would I care? So you really want to connect to the data and the different things about your posts. If you really want to drive home the fact that 90% of people search on the internet before going and buying something, that data is great. But if you connect it to a story of being like, okay, when's the last time you searched for something online before you went and bought it? Automatically you're starting to connect to a story, and it's connected to you, and it's very relevant. You can be thinking about that product. What is the last product you bought? Researched online and then bought. Just curious.
A part for my pool shark.
Yeah. Parts really cool shark.
There was really not a lot of emotional connection to a brand.
There wasn't. Probably not. But you were definitely looking. You were definitely looking for a brand. Yeah. And I guarantee you, pool shark was in your search query. So it's those kinds of things. But if I say, you are looking for your part, and it is very important. Let's get you through this. That I don't know. But there's.
But no, that wasn't there.
Okay. Well. Bad example, but here's an example. A lot of conservation groups that I work with, one of the main issues we have is target shooting, and people improperly using things and abusing things while they're out there. This image conveys all that without even having to say anything. You can tell that someone's being irresponsible, not being safe, taking up public resources for no good reason. There's all kinds of stories around this one image. And the fact that it's an attention hunters, do this nice thing, take care of our lands sign. Screw you. Okay. So anyways, once you get it actually created and everything, you want to share it, you want to promote it, you want to put it out there. So how does that get started? Sharing on social media. Once you have your top 5 hit list for the month, you can go through and you can share each one of those each week on your social media channel. So for last week we posted about our back to school special, and this week we're going to be talking about our print campaign for this, for if you're a printing company. So these kinds of different posts that you can, once you've got them on your website, then you can post them on Facebook, post them on Twitter, post them on LinkedIn, wherever you are. So it gives you automatic fodder for this, for the social media engines, right? Always include a link to your website's content back to the website, because you want the social media connections. You don't want to post just a blog right on your Facebook page be like, here's my blog. Be like, no, just post like a little snippet, and then it goes back to your website, and you can track like how many people from Facebook were actually interested in reading an article. So there's all kinds of connections that you can make there when you start linking content together, rather than just posting it all over the place, because you can actually get dinged by Google in a couple of different ways because you duplicated your content on several different sites instead of just linking back to it.
Oh, so like if you post something on Facebook and you say you copy a URL and you put it in a post, and then it pops up has the URL in the blue, and then it has the separated like title and
the image.
Yeah. So
that's the
I always like erase that.
You can.
Blue URL.
You can. I leave it in there just because the way that's populated is Facebook is going through and looking for something that looks like a URL and making sure that the connection happens. If that process, for whatever reason, was broken in Facebook, that connection wouldn't be connected. So I actually keep the full URL inside of the content, just at the bottom, because you've talked about like, hey, look at this awesome blog post I just wrote about this. It's super informative. Check it out. Here's the link, and then they can, get to either way. So I just.
So you're saying link back and forth between all of your media postings.
Well, I link. Basically, it's a hub out. So I take this blog and I take the URL for the blog, and then I post it on Facebook. I post it on LinkedIn. I post it on Twitter. And so they all have links back to the blog, and so I can actually see how many people clicked back from Twitter, clicked back from my email newsletter campaign, clicked back from my LinkedIn post, clicked back from my Facebook post, and that's a really good way to tell, what's your audience using. If you're getting the most clicks from Facebook, then they're using that the most. So it's a good way to get those connections. Also, remember to use your keywords, your videos, and your contents, your image content within the snippet. If it's a particular video, you put the video on YouTube, you might want to link that and then the post so that it pulls in the video content into Facebook and shows that, as well as the link to the post. So you've got both. People love reading and seeing, or watching videos and seeing images on social media, so good to add if you've got it. So here's just a couple of things that we posted out for clients. Facebook, here's just the one about the Sonoran Desert Heritage Act, and here's one about the fact that the Sonoran Desert National Monument turned 12, both on Facebook and Twitter respectively, and people liked and shared it. So you can kind of see how that worked. Also, there's the bonus email newsletter, so you get your 5 topics, you put them on your social media every week, and now, at the end of the month, collect them all together and say, okay, I'll make this one my feature story, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and now all of a sudden you've got an email marketing newsletter you can just send right out to your clients, or your customers, or your volunteers, or your donors, like you were saying, kind of collecting that blog content and using it as an email newsletter. So you might be already writing your email newsletter, you just don't know it yet because you have 5 posts a month or whatever, 3 posts a month. 1 post a month, you can still make an email newsletter out of it. Because I guarantee you there's going to be people that are going to be subscribed to your email newsletter that haven't checked your blog in over a month. So they're not going to even be aware this new content is because they didn't see your Facebook post, or they didn't see your tweet because it went out when they weren't watching Twitter. So just as a hey, check this out. Or maybe I saw it on Twitter and I just didn't have enough time to read it then. And then your email newsletter, then I'm like, sweet, I was going to read that, but I forgot. Here's the link. Awesome. So good to follow up with that email newsletter. Here's a full strategy if you were so curious. This is for our client of mine, Friends of Ironwood Forest. Basically showing that they post on their website, search comes in, they've got the email marketing they do every month, they've got the social media, so it's bringing people back. So if you're interested in seeing this graph close up, I can totally send you a copy. It's not a big deal. And And that connects to even larger picture when you start thinking about people using this content for like a print newsletter or a mailer. You know, what if you did a print newsletter? You still do those kinds of things. You could still use your blog content, use the images in your blog content, throw it in a print newsletter, send it out. So there's all kinds of ways people find out about you, like an in-person event. You know, maybe you're speaking at an event like this, and you know, Teresa says, "Oh, but April, I really want to know what metrics to measure based on my sales cycle." And I'll be like, "Trudy, I have a blog post for that. Here you go." You know, you never know when you might be promoting this content. So it's good to think about the big picture overall piece. So that's the powerhouse posting process. There's why, your audience, your topic, regularity, which is usually used for another thing, you know, but regularity and timing, actual content, and promoting, so showing what you have to offer. That's the process. If you just take some time, just a few moments, you know, do a little bit on the quarterly side of things, a little bit on the monthly side of things, and then once a week actually do the post, you'll be good to go. You got it. You had a question.
Yeah, quick question. What do you use to make a nice, easy newsletter? Is there something that's a template or?
Print newsletter or email newsletter?
Email.
Email, I usually just set clients up with either a pre-designed but customizable template in MailChimp. MailChimp is super helpful, especially for people getting started, because it allows you to send up to 2,000 subscribers a month without actually having to pay for the service. They put a little like powered by MailChimp at the bottom of your email, but
It's an actual service, MailChimp.
MailChimp is an actual
It's not
service.
software.
It is.
It's a cloud software.
Yeah, it would be considered software as a service. So basically, you know, if you had more than 2,000 people that you need to send to, if you were sending like 10,000 people, you would pay a monthly fee to use their service, and it's software.
I use an online service right now,
Uh-huh.
but I see MailChimp all the time, and it's always like the plugins with WordPress and stuff like that. And I'm trying to think now why I haven't switched over to it. Maybe because I've been using this other.
What's the other service?
It's called My Newsletter Builder.
Okay.
Don't they also prevent your emails from being being detected as spam?
Yes. So a lot of the email processing, like the bulk email suppliers like that, they've worked out with major internet service providers that the stuff coming from their domains, and they work with you to kind of work on your domain as well. As far as being like these people are good senders. They're not good. It's less likely to throw yourself into spam. If you're still sending out an email newsletter the ad hoc 1984 way, which was BCC all your best friends in your email spam, please don't BCC people in your email newsletter. Don't do it. Get MailChimp already. It'll be better for everybody. But MailChimp comes with lots of templates right out of the gate, very well designed. And if you find the one checkbox in there, you can link your Google, your MailChimp mailouts with your Google Analytics, and so it'll connect and you can see exactly how many people are cross-trafficking. You in the back.
Yeah, I was going to say, another benefit of MailChimp is that a lot of people don't do HTML email, and depending on the client you use, I mean, like you look at the major browsers as a web developer, there's like 5 major browsers people look at, like the reading your content, how is it going to be presented. But with MailChimp, there's like over 60 major clients between Yahoo and Gmail and, you know, you name it, Outlook and Macmail. It presents your email in a completely different way, depending on what client they have, and you have no way of knowing. There's so many competitors. MailChimp kind of marginalizes that, and it makes sure that it's visible to the widest possible audience. So I hear a lot of people in marketing complain about MailChimp, but it does a really good job. From a developer standpoint, it's like, you know,
so when you say the HTML newsletter.
Yeah, a good example would be like images. A lot of people think, well, I'll just send some images, you can have images in your email, make it impactful, and they don't realize that, like, Outlook Express, by default, I think they changed it recently, but by default, it shuts off all images.
Mm-hmm.
So
It also changes the
and
fonts.
some people in the past, they used to make an email and they just put it in a Photoshop document and make it into a picture. And they sent the picture and it was a full document, but it was literally a picture.
Yeah.
And so you would get a big X. And you have to turn it on or say, I want the image in order to actually be able to see it. So they'll critique it and help you to fix it and whatnot. But I think it's an awesome tool for that.
Yeah.
I don't use it that much, but I just know from past experience.
Yeah, and having a mass email sender also helps in the back end, especially with MailChimp, is that you have analytics, like she was saying, open rates. You know exactly what percentage of the people that you sent it to, how many bounced back, how many, opened it, how many clicked through, what did they click on.
Part of MailChimp?
It is very much part of MailChimp. In fact, they'll actually stack your results with industry. If you select your industry in there, it'll actually stack it up with other industry senders that they have within your same market, so you can see exactly like how close you are to other industry people. So that's pretty awesome. Okay, so we're at the questions point. So any other questions? Any other things that people wanted to content about this?
Where are your cards?
In my bag, I will totally get you one. Come see me. So that's my name, April Holle. You can get me in touch, April at Made Better Studio, at Made Better, at April Holle. Also, I am doing an online step-by-step course, very step-by-step, very guided, and we actually do an exchange of, hey, this is my settings, what do you think? I review them, I send you back feedback. Doing a course on that. Regular price is going to be $35. Right now it's set at $25. I do have a promo code for WP Arizona, which will knock another $5 off of that. So we're looking at $20 for you guys. Anybody that's interested can get it. I will give you the promo code.
What is the course?
It's basically everything we talked about tonight, but I'm going to walk you through every single step. So you can set up a goal, and then it will say, okay, what's your goal? Okay, great. Now who's your audience? What are they searching for? So we actually work through every single one of these steps together, and most of the content is actual video online courses where I can show you exactly how to do something. You try it, and then you come back to me and say, I had problems because of this, or I'm not sure about this. Can you just check on my work? So if you're interested in some hand-holding, I have. So check this out. I'll totally give you the promo code. I'll give it to you right now, but then we're going to have to delete a whole video.
Oh, then wait.
Yeah, we'll pause it. But also, I have a $0 beta tester offer. What that means is that if you want to take the course, take the course. After each lesson, if you just come back to me and say, hey, great lesson, April, here are some things that I would really like more information on, that I really didn't feel like you covered, or whatever. Just give me some helpful feedback, and by the end of your course, and you've given me helpful feedback each lesson, I will refund the entire amount of your course purchase. So get in touch with me if you want to talk more about that. That's it. Thank you so much.